Hello and welcome back to another video. I am Angst Attack, but you can call me Katie. For this Taboo Tuesday, I've decided that we should discuss what is incorrectly being referred to as a Muslim ban. Trump stated that he would call for a ban, and I quote, "where there is a proven history of terrorism against the United States, Europe, or our allies." White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer stated, "It's a 90-day ban to ensure that we have further vetting restrictions so that we know who is coming to this country." And, "It's not a Muslim ban, it's not a travel ban, it's a vetting system." This ban, or temporary denial of entry, is only 90 days long for most on the list, and it allows for the Department of Homeland Security and the State Department to review their visa screening standards. Also during that period, the two departments and the Director of National Intelligence will craft a list of countries that lack adequate vetting standards to ensure that those coming to the United States from those countries are not a threat. Those countries will then have 60 days to implement better screening standards or risk their inhabitants being barred from the U.S. indefinitely. At this moment in time, those countries are not yet known, but we do know once the refugee settlement program is resumed, the U.S. has vowed to only take in 50,000 people per fiscal year. The executive order also suspends the visa interview waiver program, which allows certain people renewing their visas to skip an in-person interview. Finally, the executive order postpones admitting Syrian refugees indefinitely and suspends the entire U.S. refugee program, as I previously mentioned, for 120 days. And sadly for the left gone mad, this action is fully within the President's authority. Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952 states, "Whenever the President finds that the entry of aliens or any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, the President may, by proclamation, and for such period as he shall deem necessary, suspend the entry of all aliens or any class of aliens as immigrants or non-immigrants, or impose on the entry of aliens any restriction he may deem to be appropriate." The statute clearly provides the legal authority for the President to issue the order, and it validates Trump firing Attorney General Sally Yates for refusing to enforce a legal order designed to protect the citizens of the United States. The political left and other disingenuous fellow Americans have revolted and taken to the streets over President Donald Trump's so-called Muslim ban. The problem with their reaction is that the assumptions fueling their outrage are based in a fictional representation of Trump's executive order. By mislabeling and misidentifying the order, Trump opponents can prey upon the emotions of their ill-informed and misinformed masses, creating a crisis situation to protest and express their outrage. But that's the standard mode of operation of the left: to distort, misrepresent, and misname actions that they take annoyance at, to instigate friction and hostility between groups. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said he did not know the details about the 100,000 visas revoked during a press conference, stating, "I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't have all the details right now." The State Department later confirmed fewer than 60,000 individuals' visas were provisionally revoked. They also said that the Justice Department's numbers included diplomatic visas, which were not affected by Trump's executive order. The higher number from the Justice Department included diplomatic visas and other visas that were actually exempt from the travel ban, as well as expired visas. Unfortunately, regardless of who had what type of visa and the validity of their visa, there are families being torn apart, students being removed from colleges and universities, as well as people becoming stranded. The small humanitarian in me refuses to accept that this is justifiable. Regardless of the statuses of their visas, these people needed some time, even a few days, to gather themselves, their families, and to properly pack up if they so had to. Fortunately for some, exceptions are now in place for individuals with dual citizen or green card status. A ban would not allow for such exemptions. Widespread criticism of Trump's controversial move on immigration reached an unexpected turn of events on a recent Monday evening, when Acting Attorney General Sally Yates announced the Department of Justice would not defend the order in court. She was promptly fired by the Trump White House, as I said earlier, and replaced by the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. According to the nonpartisan Pew Research Center, there are 49 majority Muslim nations, while the 7 covered by the order have only about 12% of the world's 1.6 billion Muslims, and only one of those 7 is in a recent top 10 lineup by the same research center of Muslim populations. There is nothing in the executive order that targets Muslims. Rather, it identifies 7 countries that are hotbeds of jihadist terrorism and recruitment. Those 7 countries are Iraq, Syria, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. That leaves 45 Muslim-majority countries unaffected. If the order were in fact targeting Muslims, either it would specify those of that religion or it would include the countries predominated by that religion. It does neither. Again, those 7 countries have only about 12% of the world's Muslims, and Muslims from other countries can still enter the United States. Those 7 nations were not directly named in the order, but merely identified from President Barack Obama's list of countries of concern. Those 7 nations are indisputably incubators for Islamic extremism, fomenting, recruiting, and perpetrating terrorist activity. Coincidentally, back in 2011, Obama put a 6-month travel and refugee ban on people from Iraq. I don't recall leftists protesting this. So what's the difference this time? Is it because it includes 6 more nations from Obama's list? Or that it simply becomes another fraudulent rallying point for the ill and misinformed masses? Obama identified the problematic areas. Trump simply took the next logical step to protect the nation. Trump's borrowed list of 7 singles out the same 7 countries that were singled out in an anti-terrorism law that Obama signed, although the 2 measures bear significant differences in their travel restrictions. Obama signed the law in December of 2015, and it applies to countries designated by the United States as having repeatedly provided support for acts of international terrorism. Obama did this many times before. He also disallowed immigrants or non-immigrants from U.S. entry based on a much larger United Nations travel ban, and later based on an economic sanctions list. Most countries included in both of those lists were primarily Muslim. He imposed restrictions once again in 2014, including Iran and Syria, among others. The question we should be asking is, if the Obama administration identified them as a problem, why didn't it do more to control or screen those people coming to the United States? For whatever reason, Obama's administration refused to do what the new administration has the courage to do: take precautionary steps to ensure we're not simply importing statistically likely would-be jihadists. That's going to be it for this video. Hopefully I've educated you on the truth about the so-called Muslim ban. Like, comment, and share as you please, and I will see you next time.